It is one of the greatest pleasures of my life, and I'm not exaggerating saying that. When I'm joined by one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA, but also just one of the greatest human beings, a man that I treasure, Rick Barry, the Hall of Famer, officially an NBA top 50 player, in reality, an NBA top 15 player. Joins me next. We're talking Brandin Podziemski, Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Steve Kerr, free throw shooting, the Golden State Warriors, the whole gamut. Let's get into it. This is the Golden Age.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see.
I've got a Hall of Famer in the house. Legend. Oh, Rick Barry is in the house. You could follow him on all social media platforms at Rick24Barry. He's in the Hall of Fame. He led the Warriors to a title, won a Finals MVP. Rick, your resume is damn impressive. How the hell are you doing, sir, on this? At least here in California. You're in sunny Florida. Maybe it's sunny. Here in California, we're experiencing a storm. Well, how are you doing, sir, where you're at?
Well, I'm back in Florida this time of the year for sure, but it's been busy traveling, and my pickleball, USA Pickleball Nationals I played in. My son Canyon got alum of the year for the College of Charleston, where he had graduated. So I had a little ceremony back there that I attended, which was very nice. Made me very proud of him.
Yeah.
He's a terrific young man, but the sad part about that is his basketball career is over, which kind of breaks my heart. But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, if I was doing any better, I'd be making a comeback with the NBA. Maybe I can come and shoot free throws for him.
Or coach free throws, right? And we're going to get into that.
It's embarrassing that this, and I'm harping on this all the time, and I don't care if the NBA, anybody gets mad at me. When is a general manager, an owner of a team, someone with an NBA team going to have balls enough to tell a guy, you need to learn to shoot underhand free throws? How in the hell could a player who is an employee of a business be able to tell his boss that, no, I'm not going to do that? I mean, he'd be out of a job. There's nowhere in the real world that an employee can tell an employer that his boss, that he's not going to do what the boss wants him to do working for that boss. I mean, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's, and it's proven. This is the greatest way, the most efficient, not the greatest, it's most efficient way to shoot free throws, tested, proven by physicists, okay?
Yeah.
Physicists. Why in the world wouldn't you say you need to learn how to do this? Because first of all, to help themselves, but more importantly, to help the team. Because there are a lot of games won and lost by just 1, 2, or 3 points, and the difference in shooting 60% from the free throw line as opposed to 80% from the free throw line, that's the difference in winning and losing a lot of times. So, I'll rest my case on that. If we had our own we would be playing. It drives me crazy. That drives me crazy. I don't understand how players are allowed to tell their bosses, no, I'm not going to do that.
I can't play the "You Drive Me Crazy" music because
I know,
YouTube will
okay.
flag for copyright, but that is a standard. We used to play that music routinely on the Rick Barry show, and I don't blame you for that driving you crazy. I echo those exact sentiments with Larry Krueger the other day and Paula McCaffrey in terms of and Damon Bruce. A lot of people in terms of how ridiculous it is that NBA players prioritize aesthetics, prioritize how they look over getting the job done. It is insane, Rick. I'm 100,000% with you.
It's illogical. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's one of the most foolish things ever in the history of sports. And then to be able to let the players get away with that. I mean, come on, you're getting paid millions of dollars and you suck shooting free throws, which is the only part of the game where no one's trying to stop you from doing it. And it's the only part of the game that's a consistent, the same size ball, the same size basket, the same distance every single time. And you can't make 4 out of every 5. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yes. Agreed on all of that, and we're going to talk a lot more about the Warriors free throw issues and things that just don't make sense, which sadly is rampant in this world. But first, I got to real quickly give some love to the official sponsor of Golden Days, and that's BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA. You can bet on all of it with BetOnline. So head to the website today. BetOnline. They will let you get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline. The game starts here. Rick, I want to, last night the Warriors improved to 11-3. They handily took care of the Atlanta Hawks. I think 120 to 97, I believe was the final score. And I was a little perplexed, Rick, because after the game, I was expecting a jubilant audience. I was expecting the chat, which is filled with amazing individuals providing awesome perspectives on the Warriors and much more. But they were experiencing the doldrums in there, which again, I was befuddled. I'm like, why are people upset? And they were upset about the fact that Jonathan Kuminga, for the third straight game, was limited in terms of playing minutes. He only played 15 minutes, and I personally thought he had a great first half. I deduced after looking at all the production that the players gave that the starters were delivering last night. The bench was part of the reason, Kuminga included, why the Warriors' 31-point lead had whittled down to 15. It seemed like Kerr was just making decisions that were best and conducive for winning. But nonetheless, people are upset about it. And I can kind of understand when you consider that Kuminga was also held out of this game where they lost to the Clippers. Anyway, so here's Steve Kerr's answer, because someone thankfully asked him about that. And Rick, I'd love to get your thoughts on all of this. So here is Steve Kerr when asked why Jonathan Kuminga has been playing below 20 minutes a night for the past 3 games when he's typically been playing closer to 25. He's been closing games. Let's hear Steve Kerr answer why.
And then tonight was the third straight game that Kuminga played under 20 minutes. What are the biggest factors that determine whether he plays 15, 16, 17 minutes versus like 25?
I just read the game, and every game is going to be different. So, we've got a very deep team. As we know, we're committed to playing 12 guys every night. So we just find groups that click and we stay with them, and JK will be part of a lot of those.
Now, Rick, I understand that, the game is complex, and what is your feeling on this? I like, should it be an issue? What are your thoughts are?
Well, here's the thing. The interesting thing about his comment, I've never been one over the years to pick on Steve. It's very few times that I've ever said anything. I believe in doing that because you're not there. Like I say, you don't hear everything that's going on.
And I just lost Rick. I see him coming back, but real fast while he's reconnecting, and I don't know what went wrong. I hope everyone in the audience can still see me. And Rick will join us again in just a second. But just while we wait for Rick to oh, here we go. He's back. Who knows what happened there?
I had to get myself back on. There was a problem.
Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead.
No problem. So was what he said that we're committed to playing 12. That's interesting. He's entitled to do that, but I always felt that the game dictated what you do. Mm-hmm. Game itself and how the game is unfolding. You can have an idea of who you want to put in start and who you want to think of, but even then, because I just watched the game the other day that I went to when Canyon was getting honored, his team was playing there. I saw 2 coaches literally turn the whole momentum of the game back to the other coach by his substitution patterns. Okay, because it was like it's time to substitute or whatever. Guy just hit 2 3-point shots and it played 3 minutes and 40 seconds of the game, and they were 7-point lead. They were doing well in controlling the game, and he took that guy out and 2 other guys out of the game. So I think when you substitute and who you substitute has a lot to do with it. But to think that you feel that you're committed, that you have to play 12 guys, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's obviously, Steve's had great success, so it's pretty hard to question that. But that statement just perplexes me a little bit as to why you would make that statement. And especially depending upon how guys are playing. So they blew the lead. Well, in last night's game, they had guys 14 minutes, 19, 15, 13, 15, 20. And then Gary Payton III, one of the first guys in, he only played 6.5 minutes. And then there's the biggest one was, Steph and Wiggs played 30 minutes, and the rest of them were 27, 21, 23. So it's spread out a lot. But a lot of guys didn't play particularly well. I mean, what? Kuminga. I mean, what are you arguing? He was 3 for 9. What the hell? Why should he play more? He was 3 for 9. I mean, if he was 7 for 9, you might have something to say about it. But he was 3 for 9. He didn't play well offensively, and so as I say, the game dictates what should be going on. And then you have some of the other guys. He was 3 for 9. Looney was only 1 for 3. The pod man, who's just really struggling, was only 1 for 6.
Yeah,
and 1 for 5 for Moody. I mean, so the guys didn't really particularly shoot well. Even Buddy Hield, who's usually great, was only 4 for 11 for the field. It's a miracle that they won by so many points. But these guys played well. You got Steph 7 for 10. I mean, that's kind of crazy. He gets 23 points on 10 shots only. That's unbelievable. That's just stupid good. Same thing with Wiggs. It's nice to see him. There's 12 for 17 shots, and he only takes 17. He gets 27 points. Those are the kind of ratios that you like to see. So a lot of the guys are doing a great job, and the starters are really good. Trace was really nice, 6 for 11. So that's the part. The only thing about that whole comment was that in that game there, what are you complaining about? He's 3 for 9. He's 3 for 9. I told you he had to elevate his game and take it to a whole new level. He hasn't done that. Okay, he hasn't taken his game to another level. Talent, oh my God, an unbelievable God-given talent. He's so athletic and do things, attacks the basket so well. Still not a great three-point shooter, not necessarily a great shooter from the free throw line. I mean, there are shortcomings to his game, and they're paying him a whole lot of money, and he has to to accept this role, but he has got to perform at a very super high level to earn more time.
Well, real quick, you said Kuminga's earning a lot of money. Is that what
really good? So we should play him a lot of minutes. Well, the thing is you still should be able, if you know what your role is, you need to play that role and play it well. And he hasn't really done that to the point where you're saying, well, he's playing so well, he should be playing 35 minutes or so a game. But nobody's doing that now. Mm-hmm. I mean, they made this commitment. It's pretty hard to argue. They're 11-3 for God's sake. I mean, what's everybody making such a big deal? They're 11-3, and 11-3 is a heck of a record. I mean, there's no question. And the only real serious loss is they got their butt kicked them on the road against Cleveland, who was playing out of their mind. And hell, they almost beat Boston in Boston, only by 3 points, and they're playing exceptionally well. One of the best teams in the league, without question. But the Warriors on that road trip, they beat Boston in Boston. They beat Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City. So whatever Steve's doing is working exceptionally well. I mean, I think as a Warriors fan, if the team could go out of every 14 games, they can win 11, they're going to have an amazing record at the end of the season. So I wouldn't get overly upset about it, because why do you want to change? If it's working, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Well, right now it's not broken. Okay. And they're getting away with winning games, even when some of the guys don't play particularly well. But it's their defense that is, I think, take it another level. I mean,
what is that ringing choice? Are you getting like a million emails and texts while we're doing the show?
The constant has to. Who is? I'm not. The constant hasn't. I'm not doing it. They might. That's my phone ringing all the time.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I'll turn. Let me turn the sound off.
You're a popular man, sir. You're rocking.
It's like it does that all day long. So anyway, the team is playing well, defensively especially, and we've talked about this for years.
Yeah,
that has to be the cornerstone of your success. You have to make a commitment to team defense, because that's what will keep you in games when you're struggling with your offense, because the offense, I've always talked about it, is more of a roller coaster ride, whereas the defense can be a nice constant. And so that's what they want to do, and they've been doing a nice job of that, and that's one of the reasons why they're winning basketball games. And they have a lot of different people stepping up at different times and getting the job done. But it's encouraging to see Wiggins getting back to the Wiggins we knew from a season before. I mean, who was struggling so much. I mean, he has games like that, they're going to be a tough team. And, Steph he's not playing crazy minutes and still scored 20 points a game. And the pod man, well, you told me about somebody. Let's play that Draymond clip so I can comment about it.
Real fast before we jump ahead to that, because I want to placate some of the folks out there who are concerned about how Kuminga has been treated. And Rakay, for example, in the chat writes, it's hard to see improvement in a player when he's never really playing, right? And I looked up, for example, a player who was drafted just right behind Kuminga, which is Franz Wagner of the Orlando Magic, who was playing 30-plus minutes a game his rookie season. I do understand the situations are very different. Kuminga was drafted on a championship contending team, same with Moody, and so there's going to be obviously a very different learning curve in that extent. But from a humanitarian perspective, from like an empathy perspective, I do feel for the kid. Like you mentioned, he's getting paid a lot of money. At this point, he's not actually, Rick, and I think maybe that's why he's not improving more. Maybe he's in his head a little bit about that contract extension that him and the team did not agree on. He's making about $7-8 million a year. I think that's where it's at.
Well, that's still a lot of money to me. I don't know.
You're right. I'm speaking relatively in all this. My point is, Rick, you were drafted number 2. And Kuminga was drafted number 7, but he was a very highly touted pick. If you were given this kind of herky-jerky treatment in terms of rotations, where you're getting one game, you get 30, next game, you're getting 15, do you think you would have developed to become one of the all-time greatest players ever? That's the part of it that I have a hard time stomaching.
I played a lot more consistently than he plays.
Interesting. Okay,
he's not a consistent player.
That's fair.
Just exactly what you just said happens. He'll get 30 and then he'll get 8. Right? Yeah. I mean, you have to play at a high level on a consistent basis in order to be a really outstanding player in the NBA. And so he has not shown that he's capable of doing that. Even when he was getting the minutes, yes, he would have some games and do well, but then he'd get minutes again, and next thing he doesn't perform at a high level. So Steve can't count on him as a coach. He can't count on him to go out and be able to get you 20, let's say 20 and 8 on a consistent basis, okay? Which is good. I mean, he should be getting some rebounds of athleticism, what have you. 28 and maybe a couple assists or something along the way here. I'm not trying to take him into superstar category, but that's not unrealistic, okay? And if you can't show the coach and the team, your teammates, that you can do that consistently, why are you entitled to minutes when you got other guys who can play at a level and are performing and doing what you need to be done? And so in Steve's case, he gives a guy a shot. You better go in there and do your best, because if you do, you'll get to stay in and play. But if you're not getting it done, like 3 for 9, hey, if he was playing at a high level and doing well, he would have had more minutes probably.
Well, Kuminga in the first half was on fire. And I think that's part of the reason why people were so perplexed. I mean, he grabbed 6 rebounds in 15 minutes. The 3 for 9, you're right. He was 3 of 7 at the half, I believe. And just to give some perspective, he had 10 points, 4 boards in 9 minutes of play at the half.
He hustled and did stuff, but he still didn't shoot the ball consistently. And then when he came in to do it, he didn't play well. I mean, he really didn't get himself involved again. Maybe he can't sit around and feel sorry for himself. Okay, number one. Okay. That's the worst thing in the world you could do, is feel sorry for yourself. Look, you're a millionaire. You're getting paid millions of dollars. Yeah, you want to play. You want to do it. But when you get in the game, he needs to play with the energy he played with in that first half and play more consistently, and that'll earn him more minutes. And he's got to do it. Then he's got to do it in practice, whatever they're doing in practice. If they do some scrimmaging, you got to go out and kick butt there. You got to force that coach to play you more. And the only way you do that is by playing at a high level on a consistent basis. And until he does that, he's not going to get the minutes based on this team and the depth that they're talking about.
So with all that said, if what you're saying turns out to be accurate, that he's just not a consistent player, and that's the reason for it. Although, like, again, from what I'm seeing, every time he's given the opportunity where he's getting 25, 30 minutes, he delivers. I don't remember.
But not 8 out of 10 games. You got to do that 80% of the time.
That's something he is. I'm seeing that, Rick. I don't know if maybe you're not, but when he's actually getting
every game and watch every game for the entire length of it and all, but I do see his inconsistency.
Okay,
so is a perfect example last night. So he has the great first half. Okay, I mean, great. He has a good really nice first half. But then he doesn't do anything in the second half. Even when he got his chip, maybe he thought he should have been in there more, blah, blah, blah. Your attitude has to still be in there. You still got to be focused. You still got to play at that high energy level all the time. Every time especially if you're in a situation where you want more minutes, you've had more minutes in the past, it's got to be difficult for him, but that's up to him. He's the one that has to deal with this. It's his state of mind that's important.
I'm saying the good news is that he's not complaining. Like, he seems to be part of the ethos of this team this year, which is that they're committed to winning. I don't see anyone complaining about their roles in the rotations, which is fantastic. Again, I didn't really, I personally was not expecting to have this discussion, but again, a lot of fans are not happy about the way Kuminga is treated, and I do understand it to a certain extent, given the fact, again, that Clippers game 2 nights ago, I still don't understand why Kuminga didn't finish that game. I didn't see anything there that stuck out, but regardless, he was the number 7 pick in the draft. He's a lottery pick. The potential's there. He's got tremendous value. And every discussion you hear with the Warriors and trades, his name comes up because a lot of other teams really want him. So I guess my question to you, Rick, is do you feel like maybe it's time to trade him if this is the role you see? I guess if you don't see him as a star, if you don't see him as being a player who has this significant role for your team, wouldn't it be best for the team to trade him then? Or do you think what they're doing now is fine?
Well, that's a hard question to answer, again, because I'm not there all the time. I don't see him how he's conducting himself in practice and things of that nature. All they can look at is just look at the consistency element. I mean, that's a really simple thing to do. I mean, how well is he playing when he is in the game? And is he doing this on a consistent basis? Like you say, he gets 25 and then he gets some minutes, and then the next game, if he gets minutes and he gets 8 or 9 or whatever. As a coach, you want to be able to count on a player and know what you're going to get for him. Now, hey, everybody's going to have some bad games. I remember I was told by my coach from college, who was a former pro player, and that was my father-in-law, afterwards. He said, look, during the course of an 81 game schedule, you're going to have 8 to 10 games where things just aren't going as well as you like. Those are the games that you have to find another way to justify being on the court. So if the shot's not dropping, go rebound some more. Go play better defense. Go do something productive to help your team and justify your having minutes on the court. And so what's happening now is that there are a lot of players on the Warriors team right now who are in the same boat as Kuminga, and even Moody, inconsistent. They get in, they get some minutes, they do that. At the end of the game, they go, they have a really nice game. Everything's great. Boom, boom, boom. You have to be consistent. You have to let the coach be comfortable about the fact that, hey, when he's in, I know I'm going to get this from him all the time. And so now he has the luxury. I'm talking about Steve Kerr, of what Al Attles, God rest his soul. What Al Attles had is that we went 10, 11. We only had 12 players on the team then, not 9 million like they have now. So he would go deep because there wasn't that big of a difference talent-wise between our 8th guy and our 12th guy. And so it's probably the same here with the Warriors. He said 12 deep. He didn't say he's committing to 15, right? Or 16, whatever. So he's talking 12. So if somebody is in there and he plays in and the guy, all of a sudden you see he's just not doing it, he's going to pull him. He's going to put somebody else in because he's got a guy of equal talent who may play better right in that game. And this is where coaching comes into play. And this is where I'm sure Steve's head is right now. Like he's talking about, hey, every game is different. Everything's going to happen. But if you were to ask him, do you think Kuminga is playing consistently at a high level? And see his answer. And it's a simple one, yes or no.
I think yes. And evidence of that is, for
example. He can't be because he didn't do it last night. He can't be consistent. Well, okay, give him a bad game.
But Rick, do you judge players routinely for in a 15-minute spurts? Like, is that fair to you?
It depends on whether they got it in 3 minutes here or 2 minutes there. I mean, it's pretty hard to do something getting in for 3 minutes or 4 minutes and something you just get loose and warmed up or something. I think if you're going to be in the game, you got to let a guy stay in the game for a significant, at least 6 or 7 minutes to give him a chance to see if he can get himself going and get into the flow of things and get loose and warmed up. It's not an easy thing to do coming off the bench. That's why, bench players are so critical. That's why the Warriors were successful for so many years winning championships. Their bench guys did a great job coming in. How many times did you see them come in when they substituted? They actually gained more points and got a bigger lead. The biggest thing with your bench is you want to hold the fort, right? Hold the fort. Don't lose your lead if you have a lead. If you're behind, don't go further behind. Try to cut into the lead a little bit. That's what the bench's job is to do. And it's hard sometimes for a player who's been sitting all that time to have to go in real quick, get himself warm enough, not pull a muscle and get hurt. That's not easy. People don't understand how difficult that is to do. And so that's what you have to look at. But each game, and Steve is right, every game is a different game. Every situation is different. But it's up to the player himself to get himself mentally ready to go when he knows he's going to get in. He knows the way the substitutions are going. When he gets his chance, don't press, don't push. Just be focused and do the things you're capable of doing and play confidently. Don't be out there worrying, oh, my God, I got to do this. If you start worrying, that's what happens. When you try not to make mistakes, that happens to me in pickleball a lot of times. If I'm playing with the player, my partner in mixed doubles or men's doubles, and I'm playing with my partner and my partner's struggling and doing stuff, and they're not maybe as good as I am, I try not to make mistakes because I know I can't afford to make mistakes if we're going to win. Okay? I make more mistakes then than I do if I'm playing with a good person because I don't worry about the mistakes.
You're absolutely right. And moving on from Kuminga, I just want to finish on this note because he's become a very polarizing figure in terms of his minutes and his usage. He's third in the NBA right now in scoring for players coming off the bench. So he's doing something right, I think. And
that's a valuable asset. And the thing is, if he consistently can do it, he'll get more time. And if
I hope you're right.
If he can do that and be a valuable asset to the team as a player who can come in, play with energy, get some points and score for you, and be a positive force for you, that's really important. And the thing is, his value will continue to go up because they'll realize that. And if they're winning and he's an important part of their winning because of what he's providing coming off the bench, he's going to get paid a lot more money. And he'll also be someone that will be talking about trading and what have you. Then he also get to the point where, hey, play out your free agency, then go off someplace else if that's the case for you.
That's his right, and that's a power that he has. Richard Marquez in the chat, Golden Dazer, it's thank you for subscribing. Has a question for you, sir, which is, what do you think Coach Adles would have said in guidance to Jonathan Kuminga and Brandin Podziemski, who we're going to talk about next? Your answer, sir.
Well, just what we just got done talking about.
Okay.
Play more consistently. And then if you're not going good, Al, if somebody wasn't going good, I'll give you a perfect example. So we'd start Butch Beard, Charlie Johnson. Okay. And if all of a sudden something wasn't going right and doing something, next thing you know, boom, the hopper, Charles Dudley's coming in the game. Okay. So he's going to play there, that point guard or whatever from Butch and do a great job at what he did. But the same way, then maybe Jeff Mullins would come off the bench and play if Charlie's not shooting the ball particularly well. And we got to get a little something out of him. Same thing. I'm playing. I'm not doing well or whatever. Jamal's struggling a little bit. Derek Dickey's coming off the bench to go ahead and play a little bit because we're struggling a little bit. So that's what Al has, the luxury of having so many talented players who you can put in depending upon how the game is progressing and how a particular player is performing during that stage of the game. And if they're having a tough night and not doing well, he's not going to be reluctant to put somebody else in because he's got guys who are of comparable ability. Maybe not as good as somebody else might be, but that person's struggling. So you put him in for that person and give him his opportunity. And that's where you got to take advantage of that opportunity. You have to do that. You just have to be ready to play when the opportunity comes for you and have a positive mental approach to it. And the players are responsible for that. A coach can't get the guy's head on right.
You're absolutely right. And thank you for answering Richard's question there. Moving on, because the Warriors' two youngest players are being talked about, one Kuminga and his minutes, and the other one is Brandin Podziemski, who's in his sophomore year, is shooting at least, has not been up to par. And then Draymond Green was asked about that in last night's game. Rick, if you don't mind us switching gears, is that okay? Is it,
yeah, whatever you want to do.
Okay. So this was Draymond Green last night after the game, and he was asked about Brandin Podziemski, and I thought his answer was very interesting. So why don't we hear from Draymond Green? I sorry for the video quality because there is no video really. This is primarily an audio clip, but regardless, hope you enjoy. And here is Draymond Green talking about Brandin Podziemski. Let me get that set up.
Throwing himself each and every day.
Brandon's gone through kind of a tough early season. He got hit in the face again tonight, had to leave. I guess, what are you seeing with him and what he's kind of trying to work through right now?
What he's trying to work through is y'all fault. I told y'all that at the beginning of the year. It's hard, and I don't say this from experience of myself. I say this from experience of watching people. It's hard having a great rookie season and then coming back and having the second year as good or better. It's tough. That's why you've always heard of a sophomore slump. It's a very tough thing to do. And I think for him, he's just put so much pressure on himself for the player that he wants to be and that he thinks he should be. And it's unnecessary because what he's special at is doing all the other things on the floor. And when you put the pressure on yourself, like, I got to make this shot, right? But there are some guys that have that pressure, and they have to because that's what they do. If you don't have to have that pressure, and I say that from experience, don't put that pressure on yourself because it's hard night in and night out to live based on whether you make shots or not. It's a tough thing to do. Only the greatest can do it. And I think he's capable of becoming a really, really, really good player in this league. But why put the added pressure on yourself? Why beat yourself up? We believe in him. The amount of pressure that he puts on himself with each shot is insane. And so I'm saying this also, so I hope you hear it. Me and Steph talk to him every day. Like, who cares? Miss 7 of them. No one cares but you. Like, you're the only person thinking about the shots you miss. No one else is thinking about it. But he kind of puts this pressure on himself of what he needs to be, and every shot means so much, man. It's a soft Wednesday in November. That shot don't mean that much. But he carries that weight. And I think anyone who carries that amount of weight in anything, it affects you negatively. And I hate that for him. And so that's something that we've been trying to talk to him about. Like, stop reacting to everything that goes wrong for you. No one cares but you. Nobody else. You know why? Because what we care about is all of the other things that you do. So if you do all of those things well, and that can keep you on the floor, who cares about the shot? And I think he has to reach that point. But some of that is who you are as a person. And so you have to do that work as well. So we have the utmost belief in him, and he's been positively affecting his team. So I'm not saying he's in any way hurting us as a team. Like, we're a better team when he's on the floor. But he's got to stop putting the pressure on himself that he puts on himself each and every day.
Lot to unpack there, Rick. Your reaction, sir.
Well, they were using the word that I just don't like very often. Was pressure. Pressure does not exist unless you allow it to exist. And obviously, the pod man is allowing that to happen. And Draymond's right. He's putting the pressure on himself. It's not the media that's doing it. The media is just doing their job. They're reporting things. The problem is that he's lost confidence in himself.
Oof.
No, I'm serious. That's what it is.
I know you are.
If you don't have confidence in yourself, pressure will become a factor. And this is what's happened to him. So he needs to be able to sit down and get a good psychologist or whoever it may be to talk to him a little bit, get his head on right, and understand that he is the one that's causing this problem. Because, like Draymond said, he's worrying too much about having to make his shots.
Mm-hmm.
So if your shots are struggling, he still can do the other things. Focus more. Drive to the basket and penetrate. Get some more assists. Go get some rebounds. Play some tough defense. Get fouled. Get to the free throw line so you can shoot a couple shots there. And only take good shots. Don't come down and jack up a quick three. You're not shooting the ball well. You're lacking confidence in yourself to get back to the point where you're going to start believing in yourself. And only when he gets to that point will he get back to being the player that he showed he's capable of being last year. He has lost confidence in himself. That's on him. And any help that they can give him, it's great that Steph and him are talking to him, telling him, hey, we're with you, whatever. That's good stuff. But he has got to believe it himself. Hey, I'm a good player. I'm doing it. I'm struggling with my shot, but hey, I'm going to go out and do all the other things that I can still do. Go out and get more assists, right? Get some more rebounds. Play tougher defense. Be in the position to do it. Get some steals. Do whatever you got to do to be a positive force out there. And go get some fast break layups and go, get to the line, make a couple of free throws. You'll feel better about yourself. Then you get in the flow of it and just be thinking and be so immersed in doing those other things that when the shot comes, you're going to be shooting because you're so into the game. You're not thinking about, oh, of course, I got to make this shot. Don't worry about it.
It's pretty. And do you believe in the sophomore slump, Rick? I don't think you experienced it, but
I led the league in scoring in my second year. So I
don't even know where that came from. Like, but Draymond was
actually relate. I couldn't relate to the sophomore slump thing.
Yeah, I don't know where that adage even came from, but
a lot of guys know it happened to a lot of players. That's where it came from. A lot of players would play well in their first year, and they would have a tough time in the second year. And what happens? Teams make adjustments and whatever. But what happens? You have to make yourself better and keep getting better and improving and believing in yourself. So I believed in myself from day one. I always was an extremely confident person. That's why people think I'm an extremely confident person when it comes to stuff. And people say, "Oh, he's arrogant." No. An arrogant person doesn't even have confidence. That's a camouflage mechanism because they're scared shitless. Okay. Yeah. An arrogant person is scared shitless about life. Okay. So he needs to have that kind of confidence. And for whatever the reason, something is, and I feel sorry for him because that's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah.
But obviously, hey, go back, watch some footage of yourself when you were playing last year. Go get the word. They probably have it. Put a highlight package together of what he did and tell him, say, come and sit down with me. I'm going to sit down with him. I'm going to bring him in as Steve Kerr, the coach. I'm going to have my guy and the video guy coordinator go put together a highlight package from last year of the pod man and bring him in and sit down with him and say, let's take a look and show. I want to show you who you are. This is who you are. That you can't do this if you're not capable of doing it. It's not like this is some miraculous thing that happened last year. This is you. This is who you are. So believe in yourself. Get back out there to doing it. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about any of the mistakes that you're making. If you're not making stupid mistakes, it's okay.
And Richard Marquez in the chat adding, back in 2007, the Warriors had a slogan called "We Believe," that a fan started. And maybe that's something that could apply to Brandin Podziemski. His stats on the year, shooting percentage wise, at least. And this leads to our final topic, at least our headlining topic. Brandin Podziemski on the season, 60% shooting from the free throw line, 20.8% shooting from deep, 36.8% total field goal percentage. None of that is good. But when you look at the free throw percentages for the rest of the team, I'll give you the good news. Lindy Waters hasn't missed one yet. Stephen Curry's at 95%. Buddy Hield is at 85.7%. But then we start taking that dip. Wiggins I guess, I know he's not passable by your standards, sir. I know you want 80%, and I get that. He's at 72.3%. Kyle Anderson, 71.4%. And then it really starts looking bad. Like Moody's at 69.6%. GP2, 62.5%. Kuminga 61.7, and I have been criticizing him for that as well. He went 3 for 4 last night. Thankfully, Podziemski at 60. Trace Jackson Davis, who shot 70% from the free throw line in college, is just shooting 58.3, and then Kevon Looney at 53.8%. Rick, you're one of the all-time leaders in free throw percentage. You were asked to coach Shaquille O'Neal, who, like a lot of people, just did not want to do the underhanded, even though it's incredibly effective and efficient. Have the Warriors approached you? And if not, I wish they did. But what would you advise the Warriors players in terms of free throw shooting?
Well, again, it comes down to having confidence. Is you need to practice more. A lot of time coaches say, "Oh, everybody shoot 25 before you go in." No, what you do is you have to make 100. Because if you only have to shoot 25, what difference does it make if you missed 18 of them?
When you say 100, do you say 100 in a row consecutively?
No, you have to make 100 free throws. So in other words, it's going to take you a lot longer to get out of the gym. If you're one of those guys that wants to go take a shower and go home or do whatever the hell it is you want to do, it takes a lot longer if you have to make 100 as opposed to just go shoot 25.
Gotcha.
I mean, and here's the thing. I would actually shoot more free throws than most anybody on the team, and I was the best free throw shooter. Okay,
that's perfect, right?
Right? It makes no sense. And so that's just something that you need to do to groove a shot, because it's the same thing every time. Have a routine, know what you're doing, have somebody look at you to see if you got a little tiny flaw, because just one little flaw, your elbow may be out just a little bit too much. You may not have your wrist cocked back far enough a little bit. Your hand may be off a little bit on the ball. Somebody's got to look at you shooting and find out what a little minor fundamental you might be doing incorrectly, which could lead to, because I remember I was having some trouble shooting one time just in my jumper. I go, what the hell? And I respected Jeff Mullen, great shooter, right? Great player. Jeff, watch my shot. What am I doing? I'm doing something wrong, and I can't figure it out. And so we went out, we shot. Jeff said, Rick, the ball is coming off your fingers when your body's starting to come down. In other words, when you take a jump shot, the ball should be coming off your fingertips when you're at the peak of your jump and you haven't started to come down. So there's no upward motion, there's no downward motion. And it was that little thing, that little tiny thing there that changed everything for me. So every player, they need to be able to go and watch someone who knows what they're doing and watch their shot and see if there's one little part of the fundamentals of the shot that they're doing incorrectly could be the difference in changing and getting them back up to shooting a much higher percentage. Also, does every one of them have a routine that they use every single time that you take a free throw? You should do that routine every time, every single time, in practice and in the games. So there are little things like that that I think would be critical to try to help these guys to overcome the problems that they're having right now with their free throw shooting.
It is incredible because besides the free throws, and again, the team collectively, in terms of free throw percentage, is shooting 69.5%.
That's horrible.
That is horrible.
You're absolutely 11. Hey, they're 11-3. Shooting 69% is miraculous.
Incredible, Rick. You're right. So practice makes perfect. Is that your advice
Perfect practice makes perfect.
There you go. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that.
So if you're taking shots and you're doing something fundamentally wrong, all you're doing is grooving that bad habit. And the easiest thing in the world to do in life is to develop a bad habit. One of the most difficult things to do in life is to break a bad habit.
Oh, that is beautiful advice. You're absolutely right. You're 100% right. I have no disagreement at all on any of that. That is sage advice. And Rick, leading to the Warriors being 11-3 despite shooting 69.5% from the line collectively, they're first in a very deep Western Conference at 11-3. I didn't see anyone predict this, myself included. So far, so damn good. From your perspective, D'Anthony Melton went down for the year. That's unfortunate. But I believe in the adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're the Warriors GM, hypothetically speaking, would you think about making changes, or is it full steam ahead with the current crew?
It's pretty hard to fight against success. I mean, getting confidence in themselves. Here's the thing that's most impressive. Where do they rank offensively and defensively? They're in the top 10. Right?
Correct.
Even in the top 5, I think in at least one of them, or not two of them.
I'm going to pull that up right now. Yes.
They're in the top 10, I know, and it may be right around 5 or something for both. And so if you're doing that, what the hell do you want to change for?
Exactly. Well, so some people out there think that the Warriors could use a little more size. I personally,
we talked about that all the time. The guy that I was just reading up on one of the things, the chance that they had to get a guy, they didn't do it because he had a bad year last year, but before that he had a hell of a year, was an all-star, was Vucevic with the Bulls. He's having a hell of a season.
Yes. Wholeheartedly, 100% agree.
Can you imagine him on this team with the numbers he's putting up right now?
Well, it's funny you say
that. The game double. I mean, what did he have? 29, 12, and so. I mean, he's shooting 40-something% from threes, right? And
it's funny you say that because he's been my number one target in terms of if the Warriors are going to make a deal, get Vucevic. I'm totally with you on this. Continue on. I'm sorry, sir.
No, I'm just saying, the thing is the guy's having a hell of a year, and he had an off year last year, but he's back playing at his all-star level. I mean, can you imagine this team if they had him playing with the way that he's performing? I mean, it would be. I mean, especially to have a big who could shoot the three from 40-something%.
Oh my God!
You want to talk about open now? You don't think that Kuminga would play with that? If he's on the floor with Vucevic, if he was on with Steph and with the heel and whatever, and those guys are playing, hey, that opens the floor for him to do what he can do, is go to the freaking basket, because he goes with vengeance, and he's amazing doing that. That would help him so much. But if he's on the floor, it's the same way. How's he playing? Who's he with? If he's in with Looney, hell, he's always got some big man in there guarding the basket, because nobody's guarding Looney, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I'm with you on all that. Yes.
Who are you playing with when you're on the court? What combinations are working best? And so if you're a guy and you're a penetrator, and the guy can go to the hoop like Kuminga does, and if he's in the game with Moody, that's not a help for him.
You're totally right. And I'm trying to find those offensive and defensive stats, but I agree. I totally agree with you that this Warriors team, I think, is playing fantastic basketball. I would not look to make any deals at this point. That's just me. I mean, 11-3. It's why do anything, right? I mean, it's just like you said, Rick. Anything you want to add, Rick? Anything that we haven't covered that you feel like we should touch on? I mean, this Warriors team's kicking ass. I don't know how else to spin that, but they're doing something. They're playing fantastic basketball. I'm loving it. I think a lot of people are too. Are you loving what you're seeing, Rick?
Yeah. Well, what I like is that they're playing good, consistent defense, which is, as they say, has to be the cornerstone of what they're doing. And the fact that Steve has the luxury of having guys go deep where there's not a huge difference between them. It reminds me a lot of our team, the way that we played. We basically had 7 guys and went 12 deep. I mean, if we had to, depending upon who's doing what. And also to the point where Steve's doing it too. If one of the good guys is not playing well, he's not reluctant to put, somebody else in for one of his top players and, let the other guys get the job done. I mean, it's great as a player to know that you're going to get a chance to play, and especially if you're getting to play double-digit minutes at least. I mean, most of the time it's 7, 8 guys. I mean, it's rare that teams go to 10, 11, 12.
It is crazy. It's crazy.
That's why I don't understand why the NBA, the Players Association, man, they did a great job of getting the collective bargaining. I mean, to have that many people on their roster, when the realistic aspect of it is that almost half of them aren't going to play that much, and they're making millions of dollars. It's like, it's crazy.
It is crazy. But I finally found the stats that pertaining to the Warriors offensively and defensively. Offensively, the Warriors are 5th in the NBA in offensive rating, meaning points per 100 possessions at 115.9. The only teams ahead of them, the Lakers, shockingly, are ahead of them right now. The Celtics, Knicks, and Cavaliers. And then defensively, which I think to me is more important, even though they're both important, obviously. But in terms of looking at what was successful for the Warriors in those 4 championships and what they should be emulating and repeating, it's defense. And the defense this year is 4th in the NBA in terms of
5 for both of them. They're 5 or below.
5 in both. Yes, yeah, and
that's
defense.
the most impressive thing. That's the most impressive thing to me, and that's the most important thing. Because if you can maintain that type of performance on both ends of the court, you're going to win a lot of basketball games, and you're going to be a dangerous team. And if you stay healthy and everybody kind of comes together, my whole thing is that you don't worry so much about the opponent, but you want to make the opponent worry about you.
Great point. Agreed. And that's where I've always loved this Warriors style of basketball is you more times than not see the other team being forced to adapt to the Warriors and not the other way around, meaning you don't see teams who routinely bring out a traditional center and power forward sticking with that lineup when they play the Warriors because the Warriors just blow them out of the water. And I'm totally with you on that. Yeah, I don't know what else to really say.
Yeah,
but Richard Marquez has one last question for you.
I'm happy that they've gotten off to this greater start.
Yeah.
Everybody's always going to. There's a lot of backseat drivers in the world.
Well, you know what I saw last night, Rick, that was encouraging. To kind of give some bounce, some pushback on the Kuminga thing, and not pushback, just maybe a positive spin on this. Trayce Jackson-Davis got a lot more minutes than he normally gets last night. He played 22 minutes, and I thought he was playing fantastic basketball. I think the Warriors have solved their center issue with this kid. He's 14 points, 11 rebounds, even had 4 assists, even had a block, was 6 of 11 from the field, made both his free throws. I think Trayce Jackson-Davis is fantastic, and he got a good run last night. So on the bright side, for folks out there who are disappointed in Kuminga only getting 15 minutes, Trayce Jackson-Davis did get a run, and the results showed.
Well, yeah, but look at what he did. Look at his numbers.
Yeah.
He's deserving of getting 20 minutes playing at that level. But 3 for 9, I mean, that, good first half. Well, there's 2 halves to every game. So if you're just going to have one good half, then the coach has got to hope, well, is he going to play good in the first half or the second half of this game? I don't know. I mean, you want to have him play good in both halves, obviously.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm just saying it's on the individual player to get his head on straight and to be prepared to go out there and do the things necessary to help this team win and not worry about yourself anymore. As I told players when I've talked to people before in my place, I said, look, if we're going to be successful here, Every one of you has got to take your ego and go stick it in the closet for about 8 months, because it's no longer about you. It's about us. It's about this team. What can you do to help this team win? And as a coach, I'm going to ask you to do things that I think are going to help us win. And here's the deal. This is what it is. Please give it your best effort. Let's see what we can do. If it turns out that this isn't working, then we'll open up the floor to questions and some input to see what we might be able to do to change it. But I do know in my heart that if we do the things we're asking you to do, if you players will commit to the defense and take pride in your defense and play unselfishly and play our style of basketball, we're going to win a lot of basketball games. I don't think that's going to happen. I know that's going to happen.
The Warriors next play tomorrow night at New Orleans, a team that is flailing right now, not complete opposite to the Warriors, who are playing fantastic basketball right now. And Rick, it's always such a pleasure to have you joining the program. Give some love to everyone that you're involved with, that you want to Go Sleeves, for example, one of your partners, correct? Still, I hope this is current.
Yeah, that's the code for that one. And then the other one is AlloMD.com. Look for the Ultra Repair X, and those codes are good for anything on. There's a lot of great stuff for women on the AlloMD site, so you might want to check that out for your girlfriend, your wife, or wherever. And then the last one is Medicilleaf, MEDICILEAF, and it could be small m. And RB24 is the code. Get a nice discount on all those products. The Platinum Pro Salve and Medicilleaf is off the freaking charts. I've never seen anything as powerful as that. And I use those products regularly. I played pickleball this morning, and I had my Ultra Repair X on from AlloMD. I had my Go Sleeves on. I mean, I live every day with those things. So enjoy them. I hope they work for you as well as they work for me. And I wish everyone, if I'm not back on, that you and your family have a blessed and happy Thanksgiving coming up.
Yes, and that's next week. I mean, Rick, you talk about this routinely about how fast time flies.
The most profound thing my father ever said to me, son, the older you get, the faster the years go by. I can't believe that I'm 80 freaking years old. I really can't. I mean, I told my wife, be prepared, honey. He's going to grow up and be gone before you know it. My son, baby, is 30. Come on. He's 30 years old. Anyway, enjoy life, enjoy your family, and go Warriors. Keep it up, guys.
Oh, they're playing fantastic ball, and these are good times, folks. I know the complaints are nitpicks when the Warriors are 11-3 to start the year, and they're playing fantastic basketball. And folks, follow Rick Barry on whatever social media platform you use. The handle's the same across the board at Rick24Barry. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, sir. Thank you to everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.